A good morning will sound so replenishing to all of us, and I have a question that I want us to share today, this morning, in mathematics. And the question has actually asked us to factorize this quadratic equation using the completing square method. So, factorize completely using completing square method. Factorize completely using the completing square method. And you see, the equation given is 5x squared minus 9x plus 4. So such an equation given in this question is called a quadratic equation. This quadratic equation has three very important parts. We have 5x squared as our first part, 9x our second part, and 4 our third part. So this equation is always able to capture that format of a quadratic equation, always written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where the first part is always having a square. You see, it is actually always having an x raised to a particular power 2. Then the second part has an x raised to power 1, and the last part is a constant with no any variable attached onto it. So in this case, then that means our a is 5. You can see that. So this has three parts. 5x squared conforms to this format of a quadratic equation, ax squared. The 9x, which is negative, conforms to this quadratic equation format, which is bx. Then the last part is 4, conforms to the quadratic equation way of writing, which is a constant c. So if someone asks you to use what you call the completing square method, of course there are other methods like the quadratic formula. You can use what you call the graphical solution. It's a method of also solving this same equation. And because of what the question demands us to use, we are going to actually restrict ourselves to that method. So 5x squared minus 9x plus 4 should be equal to 0. I'll take this constant on this other side of the equal sign as my first step in solving this equation. And this should be 5x squared minus 9x is equals to 0 minus 4. Then I can be able to write and have 5x squared minus 9x is equals to negative 4. That is 0 minus 4. Then there's that rule that says b over 2 squared. I take my b, I divide by 2, then I square. So I'll come here and say 5x squared minus 9 over 2, because my b is 9. Look at this. My b is 9. Correct. Look at that. So b corresponds to 9 in my quadratic equation I'm supposed to solve. So my b is 9. So I'll just say b over 2 squared as my second step after putting the constant on this other side of the equal sign. So I just take my constant, which is 9. It is here. You can be able to see it very well. So I take that constant, I divide by 2, then I square it. That must be equal to negative 4. And because we are completing the square, then you can come here and say 5x squared minus 9 over 2 squared should be equal to minus 4 plus 9 over 2 squared. We are completing the square. So we actually do the same thing we did on this side. And that means, just a minute, let me put this down. Right. So whatever we did on this side is also done on this side to ensure that you have actually completed the square. Regardless of this sign, I want to actually urge you to actually do this. Regardless of this sign, please ensure that you are completing the square by actually adding, not minusing. In terms of completing the square, we don't bother so much about the sign just before the b. That if you divided by 2 and then squared, you must always add. You are actually completing the square. So this translates into 5x minus, that translates into 4.5. Okay, then you square, that should be equal to minus 9 over 2 squared plus negative 4. Nothing has actually happened. I've just rearranged this part. There's no actually question to think so much deeply about it. So we can make the constant of x squared to be 1. How? By actually dividing all through by 5, by 5, by 5, by 5. So this and this will disappear. So what are we left with? We are left with, just a minute. So we are left with x squared minus, so I need to divide this. I'm going to get 0.9 squared, that should be equal to, so again 0.9, so let's make this to be positive because it's initially positive, so it will be 0.9 0.9 squared plus negative 0.8. Why negative 0.8? Because minus 4 divided by 5 is minus 0.8. So I'll come here and have x minus 0.9. I'll just use 1 square because this is x squared minus 0.9 squared. So that means x minus 0.9 squared is equals to, this is 0.81 plus negative 0.8. So 0.81 plus negative 0.8. Let me pick a calculator. So 0.81 plus negative 0.8. Let's see what the answer is. Calculator, just a minute. The calculator is not getting on. Okay, so fine. 0.81 minus 0.8. So that gives us 0.01. So we have x minus 0.9 squared is equals to 0.01. And because we want to actually remove this square, we are going to reduce square root on both sides. So this and this will disappear. So we have x minus 0.9 is equals to plus or minus the square root of 0.01. Fine. So square root of 0.01, it is 0.1. So 0.1. Next, we shall say now the first x is equals to, we shall take this on this side, we shall use first the positive sign, so plus 0.1, then this minus, when it comes this side, it becomes positive, so plus 0.9, so that our x will end up being 1.0. Or you can say x minus 0.9 as well is equals to plus or minus 0.1. So this translates into x is equals to minus 0.1 then plus 0.9. So minus 0.1. So minus, so just like 0.9 minus 0.9 minus 0.1. That gives us 0.8. So our other x is equals to 0.8. So our values of x are going to be x is equals to 1.0 or x is equals to 0.8. Thank you so much for your time.